I came here in 1976, found the wave, and decided it was like the best wave I've been in all the way down to Peru.
Well, I started flying in Baja in about 1976 or 77, and I have a light plane, so I started looking for places to fly and surf. And San Juanico was one of the first places I came across that had both a landing strip and a really great wave.
The place, as far as I'm concerned, is when it's on, it's as good a wave as there is in the world.
These three surfers are talking about the wave at San Juanico, or Scorpion Bay as it's more popularly known in the surf community. It might not look like much now, but in the summertime, the ride can be epic. The place is remote. From San Diego, it's about a 900-mile drive via the main paved highway, or 650 miles if you're willing to brave a long stretch of mud and salt flats. Despite the distance, in the summertime, hundreds of American surfers make the journey in four-wheel drives and makeshift campers. They spend their days riding waves that can last up to a minute and a half. That's a long ride. Most spend their nights in the campground that occupies the rocky, cactus-studded point directly above the wave. This prime piece of land has caused a nasty legal battle. It demonstrates the passion and sense of possession surfers feel for their waves. James Adkins is one side of that battle.
We're very selfish with our waves. I mean, we don't want to have more people.
His former business associate, Reuben Andrews, is on the other side. He leases the campground land from a communal agricultural group, or ejido.
Whoever ends up with that property, has kind of a public responsibility to deal with it in a way that I think respects the traditional uses there.
Meanwhile, the ejido just wants to turn a profit. The ejido owns thousands of acres of beachfront property, and they never used it for much more than grazing until the surfers came.
Pues, ¿de qué me serviría?
What good would it do me to have all these beautiful places if I don't have the capital to develop them?
At stake, though, may be the most sensitive issue in the surf community: access. Adkins actually started the campground at San Juanico, but he eventually moved on to a more lucrative business, negotiating land sales between American investors and the same ejido. Adkins says he didn't necessarily want to see his semi-secret surf spot developed, but
I couldn't keep putting on the brakes when the ejido wants to sell their property. And if I don't do it, someone's going to step into my place.
So he and a group of Southern California investors offered $3 million to buy up the campground land and build a cluster of beachfront homes at that perfect wave. But Andrews' campground lease was still in effect. That's where the war began.
We tried to buy out Andrews from the beginning. He didn't want to sell out. So as in all negotiations, we tried to figure out a way to force him to sell out.
The two former business associates and the ejido have been filing suits, countersuits, and appeals against each other over the lease and the sale for the past 5 years. Andrews and Adkins both accuse each other of trying to block off the land.
Come on, Sandy, let's go.
On a recent morning, the seasoned surfer Lee of the Sea tries to play catch with his unruly German shepherd, Sandy. Lee has been camping and surfing in Baja California for decades, and he's lost access to many of his favorite surfing spots between Tijuana and Ensenada.
I mean, access has been just about completely cut off in a lot of those places.
Though he'd like young surfers to have what he had, Lee says that may not be possible.
It's changing. I mean, everything changes. Like I think I said before, you gotta kind of, if you don't change with it, you get buried.
Adkins denies his group has plans to limit visiting surfers' access to the wave. But he thinks a more upscale and restricted use of the land along this prime surf spot is inevitable.
In any projects all over the world, when the property gets to be a certain value, there's no way you're going to stop developers from buying that property and changing it from camping.
The lawsuits are still ongoing, but it looks like there will be at least a few more years of camping at Scorpion Bay.